and gentlemen, to the She Knows Pro Football podcast. Once again, I'm Alice, aka the NFL Girl. And once again, I got my good friend Dominick here with me. Dominick, how you doing today?
Alice, we're not doing too bad. We had some strange outcomes last week. The Buccaneers losing to the Steelers. We had the Falcons beating the 49ers. The Saints and Bengals actually played a very good game, and your team, they played.
I mean, they showed up. Let's be honest. They were there on the field. Don't know how well they played, and they're definitely not gelling right now. What a mess, what a mess, what a mess. Well, you guys, it is up to week 7. How are we at week 7 already, you guys? And I am so ready for this week. Maybe in a way, I'm kind of ready for the week to be over just because of how bad my team is playing. But let me get started because there's some good and fun matchups this week. Starting with our Thursday night game, we got the 2-4 Orleans Saints head to Arizona to face the 2-4 Cardinals. Dominick, who you got?
Both of these teams are not very good right now. The Saints looked really good last week. They just didn't win at the end. A lot of that had to do with Marcus Lattimore not being there. If he had been there, I don't know if Jamar Chase would have gotten that wide open to get that touchdown at the end of the game. But Lattimore's not going to be there again this week. Neither is Michael Thomas. Doesn't look like they're going to have Jarvis Landry either. But for some reason, this Arizona team does not play good at home. They play better on the road. They play better in the second half of games as well. So look for the Saints to come out big in the first half. If they're able to hold on in the second half, they could win this game. So I actually am going to pick the Saints to win this game just because Arizona to me is struggling right now and they don't play very good at home.
I have to agree with you. Both of these teams really are struggling. The loss of Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry is crucial for that offense. And Marcus Lattimore, anytime you have Lattimore out in that secondary, you're going to have problems. Cardinals, meanwhile, I have been saying for weeks that getting DeAndre Hopkins back would help Kyler Murray tremendously. I still believe that is going to be the case. Now, will he be fully up to game speed for this game? I don't know. I think it might take a game or maybe even 2 before he'll be fully up to speed. But I do know that it should make a difference for them right away. Is it enough to overcome what the Saints can do? That's our question mark here. Me personally, I think it's going to just having him out there, even if it's just as a ruse that's who they're going to go to and he'll demand double coverage. I think that'll be enough, especially with Lattimore out. I'm going to give this game to the Cardinals. Moving on to Sunday, we got the Atlanta Falcons headed to Cincinnati to face the 3-3 Bengals. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, the Falcons, everybody thought they'd be the worst team in the league coming into this year, and they're actually right now tied for first place in the NFC South. They have not missed covering a spread this year. They always play games close, and they just dominated the San Francisco 49ers last week, although the 49ers did have some injuries. They were banged up. They don't have Trent Williams. They're not going to have him again this week. But Atlanta looked really good last week, but the Bengals have been looking better and better each week. Even in the game they lost against the Ravens, they still look solid. Now they're going to be back home. Atlanta's going to be outdoors when they're used to playing indoors. I don't know how Marcus Mariota and this weird run offense that they have is going to hold up. I do like Joe Mixon in this game. I like T. Higgins as well as Tyler Boyd and obviously Jamar Chase going with Joe Burrow. Hayden Hurst has actually been playing really good this year as well. The defense is coming along. They're still not up to what they were doing at the end of last year, but they're getting better, and I do think they have enough to at least win this game against Atlanta.
Listen, Falcons have really impressed me in the wins that they've had this season, in particular because I kind of wrote them off after they lost Cordell Patterson because he was their main point scorer. However, I've been seeing more out of Marcus Mariota, which I wasn't expecting. So, I got to give this kid credit. I'm so impressed, at least the last couple of games, of what he did, in particular last week. So got to give them a little bit more credit. Bengals, meanwhile, listen, you guys know how I feel about the Bengals. I love the Bengals. I love Jamar Chase. I love Joey Burrow. Love Joe Mixon. Playing at home, I just feel like they play a higher quality ball than they do on the road. And they're going against the Falcons. I still, as much as I would love to pick Atlanta, just because I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Marcus Mariota lately, I still got to give this game to the Bengals. They're there at home. Next up, we got the 1-4 Detroit Lions headed to Dallas to face the 4-2 Cowboys. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, the Cowboys were 4-0 with Cooper Rush behind center. Then they went to Philadelphia last week. They got out to a big deficit early, and they almost came back and won the game before the Eagles tacked on a touchdown there at the end to make it a 9-point final. Cooper Rush did have 3 interceptions in this past game, which means they're going to go back to Dak Prescott in this game. We don't know how he's going to return, though. We saw this same type of injury with Russell Wilson last year. He didn't return healthy at all last year. It doesn't really seem like he's that healthy this year either. I don't know if it's all the hand or if it's the other stuff that he's dealing with mentally and with his hamstring and everything that he's saying is issues with him now, but I still think part of it is the grip, so I don't know what's going to happen here. Jeffrey Okudah, the fourth overall pick for Detroit 2 years ago, has actually been playing very, very good this year after a year missed by injury and a rookie year that he had struggles in. He could be able to not maybe shut down CeeDee Lamb, but really contain him. So it's going to be tough for Dallas to do anything in the pass game, but the run game should be able to do something with Elliott and Tony Pollard. The Detroit defense is not that good, but their offense is very good. They're going to have, coming off a bye week last week, they're going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown as well as DeAndre Swift back, and if not completely healthy, at least healthier. I do think that's going to go a long way against this Dallas defense who's playing very good behind Micah Parsons. It's going to be a close game, and I know right now they're big underdogs, but I think I'm going to take Detroit to win this game in Dallas.
Real nice. Like that pick. Lions, listen, my heart is with the Lions. I really want to see them do better. They've had some struggles on that defense, even though I was impressed by what they were doing in the preseason. Some of how that hasn't translated into the season yet, but the offense still looks steady. And having Amon-Ra St. Brown back and having DeAndre Swift back is going to make a tremendous difference for Jared Goff. Cowboys switching back to Dak. Again, we don't know how much this thumb injury is going to be a problem. I know he's coming back. He's been off and healing. Will it affect his grip? Will it be an issue that makes it harder to get a good spin on the ball? We'll find out. And if they can't rely heavily on Dak, that means they're going to have to rely on the run game, which is fine because the run game has actually been very stout behind Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. A little bit more Tony Pollard this year than Zeke, but both of them are getting it done, and this defense is tremendous. This defense right now is probably one of the best defenses in the league, and one of the best I've seen in quite some time, mainly behind what Micah Parsons is able to do. Love watching that defense, even if I don't particularly care for their offense. At the end of the day, they're playing at home. I got to give it to the Cowboys. I just think they're going to get it done, and it will be a close battle, though. But I think what the Cowboys defense can do will overcome anything that Jared Goff can put up. Next up, we got the 3-2-1 Colts headed to Tennessee to face the 3-2 Titans. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, the Colts have looked done in the past couple of games, and they ended up coming back to win the games. They were down big 14-3 against the Jaguars last week. They ended up coming back to win 34-27. I just think that something's with them right now this year. Matt Ryan plays good at the end of games, even though he doesn't play good getting up to that. Last week, they were missing Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. Both of them practiced today, and looks like they're going to get back into this game. I know that Tennessee is coming off a bye week to get rested here. I think Derrick Henry could have a big game against Indianapolis, although hopefully Shaq Leonard's going to be back for this game, and he can help out in the run defense. I just think that the offense of the Colts, even though it may not be as good as it could be, is still more two-dimensional than the Tennessee offense is. The defenses are about on par. I think Indianapolis might actually be a little bit better, and I know it's on the road, but I think they're going to get revenge in this game. They lost a couple weeks ago to Tennessee. I think they're actually going to go on the road and win this time, so I'm going to take the Colts.
The Colts, they're very up and down. But again, Matt Ryan has something in him that somehow at the end of games manages to pull this team through. And his matchup that he has with Michael Pittman is always something good to see. And then they have Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. Now, again, Jonathan Taylor didn't have the numbers that he had last season, but of course, that would be hard to repeat 2 seasons in a row. But he still looked pretty good. Titans, meanwhile, they're coming back off of a bye. I expect good things out of Derrick Henry. I'm never fully sold on the passing game. Don't know if I ever will be. Defenses looked a little suspect. It's good, but again, these are division rivals. I always expect the division rivals, in particular in the AFC South, to split during the season. In this case, Tennessee is playing at home. I'm going to give it to the Titans here. Next up, 3-3 Green Bay Packers headed to DC to face the 2-4 Commanders. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, Carson Wentz is going to be out for this game. It looks like he's going to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a broken finger. He just had surgery on it. So it's going to be Taylor Heineke in this game, which could be very good for Washington. I think he was better for them last year than Carson Wentz has been for them this year. I think the team's going to be excited and to get him in there. I think they really like what they have in him. I don't really think they like what they have in Carson Wentz. So I think this could be a renewed vigor for them, unlike what people thought could happen with the Carolina Panthers last week after Matt Rule got let go. I think that this could be a real excitement game for them. But Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay are mad. They know that they should have won last week. They got outplayed by the Jets. They got outplayed by the Giants the week before. They need this game. They can't go on a 3-game winning streak. They can't go down that far behind the Vikings, who are now right now in first place in the division. They need this game. They need to win this game, and I think that they are going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because I think they still have a lot of stuff to work through, but I just think somehow Aaron Rodgers is going to will this team to a victory.
I'm kind of sad for Carson Wentz that he's injured and that he'll be out. But for the Commanders, I think this is actually something that will benefit them because Taylor Heineke, if you watched him in the games that he played last season, actually has this really gels well with this team and looks really good out there. So I think it will have some renewed vigor for this team that has been missing, the spark that has been missing for several weeks now. I expect them to play to a much better level under him. However, they're going against Green Bay, and Green Bay dropped two games in the last 2 weeks to both New York teams. They are furious right now. Aaron Rodgers don't like to lose, period, to anybody. I don't give a rat's ass who it's to. Aaron Rodgers don't like to lose. And so he's got to get back on a winning track. What better way and what better team to get on a winning track with than against the Commanders, who are under so much scrutiny right now, both on and off the field. This would be a perfect time to get their stuff together. They have a solid team, one of the best run games in the league, in A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. I absolutely think this is the week that they finally get back on the right track, giving this game to the Packers. Next up, we got the 3-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers headed to Carolina to face the 1-5 Panthers. Dominick, who you got?
This one's pretty easy to me. Tom Brady is going up against either PJ Walker or possibly Jacob Eason. We don't know yet. Robbie Anderson babied his way out of town. He's now in Arizona. Christian McCaffrey is good, but the rush defense of Tampa Bay is excellent, and McCaffrey can't do it all on his own. DJ Moore hasn't really done anything either. Mike Evans is there. Leonard Fournette got in the end zone last week, even though they lost. We're going to have Chris Godwin back. Who knows? We might even see a Julio Jones appearance in this game. But either way, Tampa Bay's going to win it.
Panthers are atrocious. I don't know who's the starting QB, and that right there gives me pause on who I would even pick in this game. I feel bad for Steve Wilkes because he was given a dumpster fire and asked to make it into something, and I don't think that's going to work out for him at all. Good riddance to Robbie Anderson, especially the way he was acting in the last couple of weeks. I understand that he didn't want to be there. I don't know that he's going to make any more of a difference playing in Arizona, but whatever. Meanwhile, DJ Moore, we just haven't even seen this year. They're leaning completely on Christian McCaffrey to get it done for them, and he can't run up enough points for them because their defense isn't stopping a damn thing. Buccaneers, meanwhile, understand that they're 3-3, but understand that they have a hell of a team, and they're going to have Chris Godwin back. And they still have Mike Evans. And Leonard Fournette finally stepped up last week. Tom Brady is pissed. Tom Brady's putting it all on the line. Tom Brady is putting his marriage on the line, you guys. He got to get in the win column. And I know that beating up on Carolina ain't a fair game, but I don't give a rat's ass giving this one to the Buccaneers. Next up, we got the 5-1 New York Giants headed to Jacksonville to face the 2-4 Jaguars. Dominick, who you got?
I think the Giants are the most surprising team to me this year in the NFL. I did think they'd be better this year, but I didn't think they'd be 5-1 at this point. I don't know why they're underdogs here to Jacksonville. I don't think Jacksonville is the better team. I think that the Giants are the better team, especially with Jacksonville coming in right now on a 3-game losing streak after losing to the Eagles, the Texans, and then the Colts last week. I think coming in here, Saquon Barkley has a bum shoulder, but Brian Dable said it's not an issue and he is going to play. Daniel Jones has been a very good game manager. I know Jacksonville is the third best rush defense in the league, but I still think Saquon Barkley in the pass game is great. I know they haven't had Sterling Shepard this year. They haven't had Kadarius Toney either, but they've been able to piece some people together with Darius Slayton and others to get some pass game going here. I think Daniel Jones is going to be able to get out of the pocket and run a little bit. Trevor Lawrence has been a little bit suspect in the past couple of weeks. They haven't really used James Robinson lately either since he broke out against the Los Angeles Chargers. And Travis Etienne still hasn't done anything that we were hoping to see out of him coming back from his ACL last year. So I know they're on the road and they're the underdog, but I'm going to take the Giants to win this game.
Listen, people consider the 5-1 Giants to be the most shocking team to be at 5-1. But if you actually watch what this team has been putting together week to week, you would be very impressed. And it makes sense that they're 5-1. Maybe you dismiss the teams that they played. You can't dismiss every team that they played. They played solid in all of those games. So I kind of hate that people are kind of dismissing this 5-1 record they have. I'm kind of pissed that they are the underdogs in this situation going against the Jags. I understand. If you look at it on paper, it seems like the Jaguars have the better team, right? This is not that doesn't mean anything that you see on paper doesn't translate necessarily to the field. I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence isn't a solid quarterback. I'm not saying he probably doesn't have the potential to be a better quarterback than Daniel Jones and has better weapons. However, right now, Daniel Jones is leading the 5-1 squad. Even without his top receivers, he's still getting it done. And he has a solid run game in Saquon Barkley, which we haven't seen out of Travis Etienne. We've seen some out of James Robinson. I'd like to see a little more. I'm disappointed with what's going on with Etienne. I don't know why I'm not seeing him produce the way that I was hoping that he would. It's neither here nor there. I like what the Giants defense is doing. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence will be able to score as efficiently as people are hoping they will going against this Giants defense. There's no way that I feel like the Giants are the underdog because I'm taking the Giants in this game.
Hey, if games were played on paper, Alabama would have won and there wouldn't have been any field goal posts in the Tennessee River last weekend.
That part. Paper don't mean anything, people. Next up, we got the 2-4 Cleveland Browns headed to Baltimore to face the 3-3 Ravens. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, the only thing better than a 2-4 Cleveland Browns team would have been a 1-5 Cleveland Browns team, but this is the team we have to play with. Baltimore has actually played very good this year, even though they're 3-3. Unfortunately, their secondary has really let them down. They have the worst pass defense in the league this year. I actually heard a weird stat today, which I'm sure you may have heard, you may not have. Even though Baltimore has lost 3 games this year, they've only trailed for 102 seconds the entire year. It's always at the end of games. They just can't hang on to leads. So they have to make sure they got to a big lead here. I think they will. I think this is going to be slog of a game. Both teams want to run. They have Nick Chubb with Cleveland, but I do think Jacoby Brissett is going to be able to do something here with Amari Cooper as well as David Njoku in the pass game as well as Kareem Hunt. I do think that Lamar Jackson's going to be able to do some things here with Mark Andrews as well as Isaiah Likely. Rashad Bateman looks like he might be back for this game. The team also just signed Deshaun Jackson, so he might be in there for this game as well. I do like what the Ravens have, and it is going to be in Baltimore, so I'm going to take the Ravens to win this game behind Lamar Jackson.
Like I said previously, Lamar Jackson has something he's playing for, and that's a long-term deal. And right now, Lamar Jackson is playing up to an MVP level. I know the record doesn't indicate that, but again, that has more of a reflection on the fact that they can't hang on to at the end of games, which more has to do with the fact that they're suspect in their secondary. It's really the big question mark there is their secondary. Is Lamar doing everything he can to try and get them wins? Absolutely. It's not all on him that they're not being able to close out these games. Going against the Browns have a great running game. They do. Behind Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, they have one of the best dynamic duos in the backfield. However, going to Baltimore, playing against the Ravens. Now, if they can get behind the secondary, the Browns will be able to put up points. Can they outpoint the Ravens in the way that they're playing right now? I don't think they can, not playing there in Baltimore. I'm going to give this game to the Ravens. Next up, we got the 4-2 New York Jets headed to Denver to face the 2-4 Broncos. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, coming into the season, you would have thought these records were reversed, but Russell Wilson has not been playing good at all. I just got an alert on my phone that Nathaniel Hackett had a great conversation with Melvin Gordon. He will be starting this week, so take that for what you will. But I still think that the Jets are the better team here. Quinnen Williams played awesome last week. He sacked Aaron Rodgers twice. He was in the backfield. He even blocked a field goal in that game. He just had a monster game. I think the defense is going to get after it this week. Breece Hall's playing great. They're going to run the ball. Denver's going to run the ball. I hate to say it, this is going to be another ugly game no matter who wins. It's going to be another one of those Denver games against San Francisco or the Colts where it was like 12-7, 12-9. I don't think either team in this one gets more than like 16 points, but I do think that the Jets are going to win.
Broncos are a terrible team. A terrible, terrible team. And I'm telling you this as a Broncos fan. Something is going on with Russell Wilson. Week to week, it's a different injury I'm hearing. Is it his thumb? Is it his labrum? Is it his shoulder? Is it his knee? Every week it's something different. Whatever the case is, something is not clicking. And it's not clicking with his teammates. His own teammates seem like they're getting on. They're not being kind of can see it at the end of games that they're a little fed up of whatever is going on with this man. As much money as Denver invested in it, this team should not be 2-4. They should be far ahead and far superior to any team, at least in their division. And they look terrible every single week. It's painful to watch this team. Meanwhile, what is going on with the Jets, you guys? My goodness, is this the team that I thought was going to come out? I'm like, come on. They got Zach Wilson there. That's their starting QB. This is who we're dependent on. And then he got hurt. And I was like, this team's not going to win a daggone thing. Robert Saleh has this team playing, in particular, this defense. Sauce Gardner is a character all by himself. And I love what Saleh has this defense doing. And it's the defense more than the offense. Listen, they put up just enough points and then hold everybody from scoring. It's phenomenal to see, and I'm enjoying it. As much as it pains me not to pick my Broncos, the way they're playing right now and the fact that this is not cohesive, they're not playing together, something is going on with Russ, and the team is about fed up with it, and Nathaniel Hackett is not scheming good games considering what's going on with Russell Wilson. I got to give this game to the Jets. Next up, we got the 1-3-1 Houston Texans headed to Las Vegas to face the 1-4 Raiders. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, the Houston Texans love to keep games close in this one, but they haven't been able to really win games. Las Vegas is going to have Davante Adams in this game. He's not going to be suspended. Since they have criminal charges against him now, it's now in the personal conduct, which waits until after the case is finished. So he's not going to be suspended probably till at least next year if he's suspended at all. With that said, they're going to have Derek Carr. They'll have Davante Adams here. Josh Jacobs, the game before the bye week, finally came out and had a great game against the Chiefs. We'll see if he can do the same thing here against the Texans. I think he can. Neither of these defenses is great, so I do think that it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to take the Raiders to win it at home.
The Texans, they finally, listen, kudos to the Texans for finally getting rid of Jack Easterby. How many times have I been calling for this man's head? How many years have I been calling for the Texans to get rid of this man? That he is not beneficial to this team. He is not making good player decisions. He's not making good executive decisions. How this man became in charge of players, it makes no sense to me. You're the chaplain, dude. So maybe just the fact that they got rid of Easterby, we'll start to see this team winning games. That being said, they're going against the Raiders. Now, the Raiders don't have the best record, but the Raiders have Derek Carr and Davante Adams, and they have Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Can this team finally get in a win column going against the Texans, who are, like I said, are going to have a little bit of a new fire under their butts with Easterby being gone? Absolutely, I think the Raiders will get it done. I think it'll be a more closer match than people are anticipating, but at the end of the day, Vegas is there at home. Got to give it to the Raiders. Next up, we got the 3-3 Seattle Seahawks headed to LA to face the 4-2 Chargers. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun game. We didn't expect Seattle to be good either, much like Atlanta, but they have been, especially with Geno Smith playing much better than Russell Wilson has been this year. They don't have Rashad Penny anymore, as we talked about before, but they do have Ken Walker III being in there. They have DK Metcalf is still doing good. So is Tyler Lockett is showing out as well. The defense is not great, so that could be very good things for Justin Herbert in this game, coming off his second game of his career where he had no touchdown passes. Austin Eckler is finally looking good after the past couple of weeks after starting off slow. Hopefully Keenan Allen will be back for this game. They say he's going to be, so that'll be good if he is. It'll really help with him alongside Michael Williams and Joshua Palmer. So I really like this Chargers team. It's going to be very close. I think it's also going to be very high scoring, but I am going to take the Chargers to win.
I don't know what kind of magic Geno Smith has going on, but Geno Smith has looked good there with Tyler Lockett and with DK Metcalf. This team is fun to watch, which I can't say for my Broncos. Chargers, meanwhile, listen, Justin Herbert has still managed, even when they're not throwing touchdown, he's still getting the ball down the field. He hasn't had Keenan there. That's been the big issue. If you know that he's having to lean on Mike Williams, then you know just to double cover Mike Williams. If he gets Keenan back this week, it'll make a tremendous difference because it'll open up more of the field. Keenan is a downfield receiver, and I'm looking forward to getting it back. Eckler has always impressive to me. I think the last couple of weeks I've I've seen a little bit more out of him than I've seen in previous weeks. It's going to be, again, this might be a closer game than a lot of people are anticipating, but I think playing there at home and considering they just came off a win last week, I think the Chargers are going to get it done here again, giving this game to the Chargers. Next up, we got the 4-2 Kansas City Chiefs headed to San Francisco to face the 3-3 49ers. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, obviously we know that the 49ers have been without Trey Lance, but I think the biggest issue right now is that they're also without Trent Williams at left tackle. With him out, they're just giving up a lot of pressures on Jimmy Garoppolo. Their running backs because of that have to stay in and block. They're not able to run the ball as much as Kyle Shanahan wants to. We're not going to see a whole lot of pressure here probably by Kansas City because they don't really use that a whole lot, but I do think that their offensive line is excellent in Kansas City, so they're not going to have Patrick Mahomes be having an issue either. Mahomes threw 2 interceptions last week, one of them at the end of the game, which cost him the game. I don't think that's going to happen this week either. I really like Kansas City coming into this game after a loss. I don't think they're going to go to 2 in a row, and I actually think they could win this game by double digits.
Listen, I was surprised that the Chiefs lost last week. Well, not really. It was the Bills, and the Bills are just playing some next level ball right now. The Chiefs, meanwhile, still look good. You guys, Travis Kelce is just phenomenal this season. And then he still has other great receivers, and he still has Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the backfield, and the defenses look solid. So going against a team like the 49ers, their defense has really impressed me this season. Jimmy G, he has flashes of what I know he could do because he has a receiver like Deebo Samuel, and he has George Kittle, and he has Brandon Ayuk. This is a solid team. I expect this to be, I'd say in the first half, I expect this to be a lot closer game, but I know that the Chiefs can blow the doors off a team, and they want to make up for the fact that they lost last week. So I'm definitely going to get this game to the Chiefs. Next up, we got the 2-4 Pittsburgh Steelers headed to Miami to face the 3-3 Dolphins. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, this is a trap spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're coming off a huge high from last week beating the Buccaneers at home. Now they go down to Miami where dreams go to die, especially in that heat and the mugginess that's going to happen there at night. Tua's back. They've lost 3 games in a row, but with Tua back, I think they can reverse that here. Tua came out today and said that for all those people who are claiming he didn't have a concussion, he came out today and said he doesn't remember being hit. So he obviously had a concussion. But him being back, I think is going to do big things for this team. Pittsburgh's going to be outmatched, whether it be Kenny Pickett or if they have to stay with Trubisky this week if Kenny Pickett has a concussion. I just think that they're going to, like I said, they're going to be overmatched. This is a trap game for them. They're going to have a letdown after last week, and I think Miami's going to win.
Listen, I want to see Miami get back in the win column. I know now that Tua is back, I think that's a possibility. They've struggled without him there. Such a tremendous difference having Tua there makes for this team, like night and day difference. And we've seen that in the last couple of weeks. Steelers, I'm hoping they get Kenny Pickett back. I'd like to see Kenny Pickett versus Tua and see how that works out this week. So I'm hoping that's what I get to see. Tua being back for Miami, though, is just another level of ball because of how well he plays with Jalen Waddle and with Tyreek Hill. So playing there in Miami, Steelers had too many question marks for me. I'm going to definitely get this game to the Dolphins. And last up, we got our Monday night matchup. We got the 2-4 Chicago Bears headed to New England to face the 3-3 Patriots. Dominick, who you got?
Yeah, the Patriots looked great last week in that 38-15 beatdown of the Cleveland Browns. I think they're going to look good again this week. The Bears are terrible. We are what they thought they were. They came out of the season kind of strong with a 2-1 record to start, but that was against Houston and against San Francisco in a monsoon. I just think that they're showing what they are. They don't have anything on offense. The defense is not playing that great, and the Patriots as a team are playing much better, so I can see the Patriots winning this game pretty easily.
The Bears are just terrible. I wish I could say something else other than that, but the Bears are just such a god-awful team, and they're just hard to watch. It's so much that I was hoping that I would see out of Justin Fields that I'm just not. And the defense tries to keep them in games. However, their offense isn't putting up points. So that's an issue. Patriots, meanwhile, I think the Patriots have just enough to get it done. I mean, these are 2 not so great teams. You can look at their records and tell they're not so great teams, but playing in New England with the weapons that they have there right now at this point in the season, I'm going to get this game to the Patriots. Well, you guys, that's all of our matchups. Dominick, give me 1 start and 1 sit in fantasy.
Yeah, I'll give you at the same position. If you have a team on bye, if you're the Eagles or Bills and you don't have Josh Allen or you don't have Kirk Cousins, you don't have Jalen Hurts this week, it's gonna sound surprising, but Bailey Zapp, if he should be playing this week for New England, I think he's gonna do great against this terrible Bears defense. We don't know how much he's gonna do, but I do think he'll be good to get you a couple touchdowns and stuff. And if you have Josh Allen or like I said, if you have Jalen Hurts and you don't want to drop somebody, you just want to pick somebody up for 1 week, I think Bailey Zappi could be great for you this week. For sit, I'm going to go to the same person I went to last week against the Chargers defense, who is missing Joey Bosa and who has not been very good against the pass or the run this year. Russell Wilson only had 188 pass yards. He claims he's hurt all these different things. He's like a operation board right now with what he has injured. If that's the case, then you don't want to start him against the Jets defense, who with Sauce Gardner and Quinn and Williams has been really good, and two, on offense is going to run the ball and keep the Denver offense off the field. So I would not start Russell Wilson this week against the Jets defense.
I wouldn't start Russell Wilson against anybody right now, but that's neither here nor there. Well, you guys, that's all the time that we have today. Want to thank everybody again for listening. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at TheNFLGirl320. Dominic, where can they follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at EnvisionFF.
You can read more of my thoughts on SheKnowsProFootball.com. Dominic, where can they read your work?
You can read my work at TheAthletic.com, PhiladelphiaEagles.com, and SportsbookWire.com.
That's all the time we have, you guys. See you back here next week.